Cheeky was preparing for a joyride in his Mercedes-Benz. He was planning to go in a car meet that was happening in 2 hours. He called his friends and asked if they would visit the car meet. Then he went to check his grandma because she needed help. After he helped his grandma, he decided to go for a ride alone and enjoy the city. He decided to swim through traffic, which he usually does with his friends. He flew by multiple cars, nearly missing them and almost caused a few car crashes. But that's what always happens when he swims through traffic with his friends. As he was driving like a maniac through the city, a truck merged into an intersection, while Cheeky was overtaking cars. Cheeky was driving at around 110 miles per hour at the time. He hit his brakes and tried to swerve to avoid the collision, but it was too late. He crashed into the semi-truck at a high speed. Witnesses called 911 and went to check out Cheeky, but the car damage didn't allow them to get to him. Truck driver had no injuries, and Cheeky passed away after the impact. If you witnessed an accident, be sure to pull over and call 911 if you are in the USA and 112 if you are in Europe. USS Enterprise was on her way to Yandir's house. They were about to go to a military base where they served. Yandir hopped into a pickup truck and they headed to a military base. As they were driving, they got overtaken by a pickup truck that was fleeing from the cops. They joined the pursuit in case the police needed some help. The pickup driver caused multiple car accidents during the chase, causing multiple injuries to civilians. Luckily, no fatalities. Suddenly, the fleeing pickup truck lost control after he got scared when a car almost went into his path and crashed into an oncoming semi-truck. The pickup driver died on impact. The semi-truck driver had a strong arm pain as he hit it while the impact. He was checked and treated in the hospital and released that day. The driver who caused the pickup truck driver to lose control ran away from the scene. Police are still searching for the driver. Saruhan Selik was having a routine day. He was driving his Gabriel D15 V8 pickup truck heading to his work. Saruhan worked as an engineer on the construction site. At the same time, Peter was hauling wooden planks. While Saruhan was enjoying his music coming from a radio, having a nice morning ride, Ben was arguing with his wife on the phone. He was driving crazily as he was in anger. Saruhan stopped at the red light, just 0.5 miles away from his work, when Ben rear-ended him at high speed, pushing him into oncoming lane, where he crashed head-on with Peter. Saruhan was in critical conditions, transported to a hospital, and had multiple injuries, fractures, and he needed an urgent operation due to some internal injuries. He was released from the hospital after 3 weeks. Ben broke his left arm and suffered from heavy neck injuries. Later, he was arrested for reckless driving. Peter was okay. John Langston was leaving his parents' house after a family dinner. John called his wife that he had some food for her and he would be home in 35 minutes. At the same time, Colin Sparks, who was a doctor, was driving home from work after a long shift. John and Colin were driving on the same highway. Traffic was light, and they both were tired after a long day. Suddenly, Nagasaki lost control over her Volkswagen Golf, crashing into John and Colin. After they came to a complete stop, cars started approaching and all of them saw them at the last second. There were multiple near misses until a van driver who was not paying attention smashed into John's vehicle. After the collision, multiple drivers didn't even put their hazard lights on. They only slowed down and continued driving. Unfortunately, John died because of his injuries. Nagisa was arrested after police found out she was driving drunk. Colin had no injuries. The van driver was also arrested. If you crash on the highway, put on your hazard lights, get a reflective vest, leave your car, and run from the road. Never stay in the car or on the road. On the bustling streets of Palermo, Italy, a fearsome American mobster named Andrew. He was known for his shady dealings and his penchant for fast cars. His latest acquisition, a 2020 Dodge Durango SRT Hennessy, was a beast on wheels, modified to reach breakneck speeds. Andrew had an ambitious plan to expand his criminal empire across Europe, and he intended to do it in style. He had arranged a meeting with other Italian gang leaders to discuss a lucrative new collaboration. To impress his counterparts, he decided to make a spectacular entrance. Andrew finally arrived at the meeting location, located in an abandoned warehouse on the outskirts of town. The other Italian mobsters were impressed by the display of power, but they were also suspicious of this American foreigner. The meeting started off tense, with heated discussions about the details of the collaboration. However, tensions rose when rumors circulated about a shipment of high-value goods passing through the city that evening. Everyone wanted a piece of the pie, and the meeting quickly turned into a confrontation. Andrew, sensing things were getting out of hand, made the bold decision to leave the meeting in spectacular fashion. He stormed out of the warehouse, his Dodge Durango roaring at the top of his lungs again. He accelerated at breakneck speed, pursued by the other mobsters who tried to stop him. The chase reached mind-blowing speeds on the winding highways of the Italian countryside. Andrew, confident in the capabilities of his modified Dodge Durango, reached speeds of over 300 kilometers per hour. However, tragedy struck when a truck suddenly came around a bend. Andrew, too fast to avoid the collision, hit the truck violently. News of the collision spread quickly, and the story of Andrew and his Hennessy Dodge Durango SRT became an urban legend in Palermo. Some described it as a daring demonstration gone wrong, while others saw the episode as the tragic fate of a reckless American mobster. He's dead from his injuries. The Dodge Durango, once a symbol of power and speed, now sat in a scrapyard, reminding everyone that even the most daring could be overtaken by fate on the unforgiving streets of Palermo. Mark was leaving his home to go shopping in another city. The temperatures were below zero, and the night before it was snowing. Roads were full of snow and ice, which resulted some cars to end up in a ditch. Mark had great winter tires, which were doing a great job in these conditions. He stopped in downtown to get some medical stuff he needed before he went to the other city. As he went on the highway, the weather got worse, and he got into a fog with low visibility. Unfortunately, most of the drivers, as well as Mark, didn't slow down as much. There were two cars ahead that collided in the left lane. That led into a big car pileup. Multiple vehicles collided with these crashed vehicles. Finally, police arrived, and they made sure to close the highway before more cars approached. Mark had minor injuries, and other drivers were treated on the scene or transported to a hospital. Luckily, there were no fatalities. Always be sure to slow down if there is a foggy weather on the highway with snow. If these drivers would have slowed down, this whole accident could have been avoided. Peter was leaving his home in the morning to get to his job. Peter worked as a technician in a company that was transporting mechanical parts for machines. He then went home after a long day, preparing to play GTA 6 after it finally got released. Everything was normal. He was excited for the game. After he got home, he launched the game. Suddenly, a meteorite impacted with the ground, causing a massive shockwave, destroying the environment. It was a massive meteorite that wasn't noticed. The whole East Coast got destroyed. Everything around was destroyed and burned to the ground. Some trees that were far from the meteorite managed to survive, but otherwise, the whole environment was gone. The sad news blasted through the world. After a few weeks, scientists found out that the meteorite had some strange materials that blocked the radar waves, and that's why it wasn't noticed.
Hello everybody, thank you so much for watching until the end. I'm very happy for your support. Please consider subscribing, liking, and I'm just finishing editing of this episode right here. It's live. Yeah, it's been pretty it took me around 3 weeks, I think so. Editing, I spent like 3 evenings right now. It was in total like 11 hours of editing and 2 weeks of recording. Okay, I have a full-time job, so that's why it's kind of delayed and process taking longer. Here is my monologue as a thanks to everybody for supporting and for watching, and yeah, take this as a bonus bonus content for those who are watching until the end. Peace out.